All right, welcome to the call. I actually feel super nervous. I don't feel nervous for like my own team calls because it's just like, I don't know. They're on my team and like I don't know why I don't feel as nervous. But now that I have like Team Machine and Team Living Fit and Team Fatabulous, I'm like all this pressure. But I've been doing a lot of work recently on myself, and now that I am number 2 coach in the network, I've been getting asked a lot to like do calls and do trainings. And I don't honestly know what I do that is different or special than anybody else really. So it's been really hard for me to kind of like figure out why, I am where I am and why I feel the way that I feel and why I've been able to see success when other people haven't. And the only thing I can really think, and I get this feedback a lot from social media, is one, that I am very just raw and real and authentic on social media now. I haven't always been that way. And then also I think I tell stories in my posts. So that's the only thing that I can really think that kind of differentiates me a little bit. And so that's kind of what I want to talk to you guys about tonight. And I listened to a podcast. I am dying over the Life Coach School podcast right now. It's put on by a life coach, and I just always get these amazing little nuggets from it. And she did one about other people's opinions, and it kind of made me realize like, oh, this is how I'm doing it. Yeah, it's so good, right, Nina? This is how I'm doing it. And I feel like this is a way that I can kind of share with you guys how to become raw and real, because that's what I've always thought. I'm like, when people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just me. I just show up authentically. But like, that's real easy to say. But if someone were to tell me that before I felt ready, I'd be like, okay, but what does that mean? And how do I even do that? It's the Life Coach School podcast. So with Brooke Castillo. So, I would be like, what does that mean? And how do I even do that? Especially because I think so many of us come into this business already hiding from who we are. And then you come in and you're asked to share your journey and you're asked to post on social media, which is very uncomfortable if you're not used to posting on social media. And it's very uncomfortable if you're not used to sharing parts of your world that maybe you're insecure about, i.e. your body and wanting to work on yourself and whatever, So I think it's a little bit challenging, but she just kind of wrapped this up in a nice little bow in the podcast. And it made me realize like I need to share this with you because I think it's a way that hopefully I had so many light bulb moments. So I'm hoping that that'll kind of be the same for you tonight. Because if there's one thing that I do think sets me apart, it is my ability to be me unapologetically. And I struggle a little bit. Like when Beachbody asked me to do the wake up call, I still have to be like corporate Ashley. I can't drop F-bombs and they don't want me to talk about drinking. Like I still feel like I'm not fully me on National Wake Up Call or anytime corporate wants me to speak. But how I am on social media is how I am in real life. And it was interesting because someone commented today on a post that I had put up, and she was like, when I first found you, I wasn't really sure how to receive you because you wear your heart on your sleeve and I don't, and I found it to be a little bit much and I wasn't sure like what to do about it. And I'd never thought about that before, that like, because I always tell everybody, like, if you are riding a struggle bus right now, if you are owning shame over something that you should not own, like depression or miscarriage or infertility or eating disorders or whatever, any of these things, anxiety, Letty started opening up about her anxiety. So any of these things that we carry shame over, I always am like, oh my God, shine the light on it. Like put that out on social media. It's going to help people relate to you. But then this person was like, and you wear your heart on your sleeve. And I was like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And I was thinking about it all morning. And I realized like as coaches, that's kind of what we have to do. We have to wear our hearts on our social media sleeve to let people into our world. And I know that it's a really challenging thing because we are afraid of being judged. And that's what this podcast was about, was just the fear of other people's opinions. And as you come into coaching, that is what I hear on every new coach call. And not even just new coaches, like you're talking to someone 6 months into the biz, you're talking to someone a year into the biz, they still have that same struggle of, but I'm afraid of what people will think. And so I just want to share with you guys tonight some ideas that I hope will help you embrace your truths and being okay with sharing them, knowing that you're going to be judged for them. Because it's when you start sharing your truth and you start showing up on social media as authentically you, it's not that you're not going to get judged. So if you guys have ever heard that quote, you can be the ripest, juiciest peach in the world, and there's still going to be someone that doesn't like peaches, right? Like, you can be the best and everybody around you can love you, but there's still going to be someone that doesn't like you. And what I found when I first started coaching, and what I see a lot of coaches do, is they put out the story that they want people to buy, right? So you put out the highlight reel where every day is great and you never miss a workout and you absolutely love your kids 100% of the time and you never fight with your husband and you're always on your meal plan and life is just perfect. That's the story that we put out on social media because we want people to think the best of us. But one, it's not true. And two, when you put out on social media or into the world things that aren't authentically you, when people like you, you know they don't really know you. Does that make sense? So like when you put out a lightened version of you or a, tamed down version of you, and then people are like, oh my God, you're the best, I love you so much, whatever, you know that they don't really know you, and so you don't believe their like for you. And when you're not showing up as you, you start to question if you even like yourself. And most of us at the core, even if you have depression and insecurity, because I have a long history with that, my whole life until really recently, and still sometimes it will try to rear its head, and I just now have tools to kind of keep it at bay. But even if you have depression and insecurity, you still like who you are. Most of you do. If you don't, definitely do more personal development, and there is also no shame in getting help in a medical way if you need pills or something like that. Same for anxiety or something like that. But I feel like when I was dealing with insecurity and depression, I thought I liked who I was, but I was just so afraid that other people wouldn't like me. I was so afraid that because growing up, I was told I was too bossy and I was too loud and I was too sensitive. So then I was like, okay, I better not be sensitive. I better not let things affect me. I better not be assertive. And I just kind of started stifling the parts that make me me, which now is what you see out there because I've re-embraced who I am. And I liked those things about me. They are too much for some people. Some people don't like peaches, and that's okay. And so what I started to do was I started to just a little bit at a time kind of peel back the layers and show people and say like, okay, here's a little tiny peek. Is this okay with you? And I just started like dropping the F-bomb on my posts. And I started talking, and that was okay. And then I started talking about how I like to drink. And that's something that we enjoy. And I always still sometimes I wonder how people receive that. Like, oh, does that mean that she's an alcoholic or something? So I still am not sure, but I just decided the people that think that, they just aren't my people, So talking about that and realizing like, oh, okay, the world didn't swallow me up. Nothing happened. It's terrible. I can get through this. Okay, I can do that. And then I shared about, my depression, very buried in a post somewhere. So not everyone would see it. And that was okay. And then not only was it okay, but people started to get to know me and reach out to me on those things that I was talking about. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you're into fitness and you still can go out on a Friday night and drink and have fun. Or I too struggle with depression, right? So they started relating to me on those things. And then I just started sharing more and more until I started showing everybody all of me, and I was comfortable with it. And I knew that I had to just be true and honest, because at the end of the day, we're giving so much time to these people's opinions where we cannot control what people think of us. We can't. Like, people are going to think whatever they're going to think regardless. So you may as well have them form their opinion on you based on reality, right? You may as well, oops, we are viewing Doris's screen. Doris, I don't think you meant to do that. Perfect. I think it's fixed. So, you know, if they're, if you are going to be judged anyway, you may as well let people judge you on who you actually are instead of that highlight reel that, oh, you know, Stepford wife, yeah, her kids are always perfect, perfect job, like, right? You're putting out this perfect picture and they're still judging you on that. So you may as well let them judge you on who you really are, because then, hold on, I'm trying to see this chat. Because then at least you know it's true and it's authentic, and that if someone doesn't like you, then they are not your people. They just don't like peaches. But there are a ton of other people, you guys, who like peaches. And so I think about, you know, who I am and what makes me me. And I had to just decide, like, that I didn't have to be for everyone. I didn't have to appeal to everyone on the planet. I just had to be okay with me, and then, you know, let people know that I have depression, that I like to drink, that I like the F word, that I have a crass sense of humor, you know, that my husband and I, we don't anymore, but we were going to couples therapy, that I, whatever, you know, all these things, and let people judge me based on that. And I had to be okay with it. And I thought, you know, if everybody doesn't like me when they see me, well, then I can deal with that. But at least I'll have my own back. And the absolute reverse thing happened. People didn't go running. People started running to me. I mean, I'm sure there were people, right? I looked at my, like, insights the other day on my page, and I see I get a ton of unlikes on my page all the time. And I just figure those are not my people. But all in all, it's growing, because the more authentic I am, the more I'm able to really connect with people. So I just encourage you guys to decide to let people judge you based off of reality, not based off the highlight reel and that perfect picture of you that you're putting out there, because they're judging you right now also, you know. I have to look at my notes so I can make sure that that I don't miss anything. Okay, so sorry. Oh yeah, this was another really great point that I love, that really hit home for me. So she's a life coach, right? She had someone coming into her office, and she said the person kept going on and on and on about how fabulous her husband was. And then she was really struggling with her own self and her own worth, and didn't like who she was. And Brooke, the person of this podcast, said, well, let me ask you this. What if someone, and I'm just going to now change it to my world so I can use the names, but what if someone were to come to me and say they don't like John? What would I think? This John's my husband. And I would think, well, they're crazy, right? Like, who doesn't like John? He's very likable. He's not aggressive, over the top. He's really fun. He's laid back. He's hysterical. Like, who wouldn't like John? That person would be crazy. And then that's what this woman said about her husband. And then that Brooke said, but what if you felt that way about yourself? So, and that was like such a light bulb moment for me of like, when someone talks bad or doesn't receive someone that you love in your life, you have their back resolutely, no matter what. You're like, oh no, that person's the crazy one. My husband's the best, right? So, sorry, I just got distracted by this comment. I have to stop looking at comments while I talk, and then I'll do the comments at the end. But so what if we all had our own back, the way that we had the backs of the people that we love? You know, like so if I have my really good friend Colleen. Some of you guys know her from You Can Sip With Us. I feel like she is literally like a soulmate on this planet for me. And I get really excited to introduce her to people because I just love her. And she does well in all social settings. Like, she's very fun, bubbly, makes people feel welcome. She's super successful, really funny, has the best heart, super loyal, amazing. So when I introduce her, I tell like to people, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited for you to meet Colleen. She's XYZ, she's amazing. And then if people leave that evening and they don't like Colleen, I don't think, well, shit, I better not have Colleen in my life anymore. I think, red flag with you. There's something wrong with you. And I wish that we could start taking that stance on ourselves. Like, for the people that don't like us, that's cool, because you're the crazy one. You're the crazy one to not like me. I'm rad. I'm cool, you know? And I don't like you. I have a red flag around you. So I'm just going to be me. And when we start to have our own backs like that, that's when you start showing up as just authentically who you are without caring what people think, because you're allowed to be you. People are allowed to like you. They're allowed to not like peaches, but if they don't like you, they're the crazy one, not you. You're not the one that's over the top. You're not the one that's too emotional. You're not the one that's super sensitive. You're not the one that's really annoying. You are just you. And you're going to find people that love you, but you don't find people that love you until they know who you are, instead of just your highlight reel, instead of that perfect little picture that you're painting for everybody, that they're still just judging you on. So let them see what your truth is, you know, let them see into your world. And the other thing that she said that I thought was like such a great thing, was she was talking about, like, if she were to go up to a professional football player and she was like, gosh, I think what you do is dumb. That's not hard. That's super easy to play professional football. That's just dumb. Do you think that the professional football player is going to be like, oh my gosh, Brooke's right. This is dumb. This is not hard. I better stop doing what I'm doing because it's not cool to Brooke, and I want to do what's cool to Brooke. No, they're going to be like, who the fuck is Brooke? Sorry, I know there's kids, but they're going to be like, who the fuck's Brooke Castillo? Okay. Like, you're not in my world. So when people don't believe, and I love that, because it made me draw the parallel to coaching of, like, when people don't believe in what we do, when people say you're just trying to sell something, or, you're tacky and annoying with all your fitness stuff, or you're just seeking attention because you're putting yourself out there with your sports bra on, or any of those other things that we're saying, I just need to turn this chat off somehow. When they're saying any of those things about you, you just have to think, but that doesn't matter, because they don't know what I'm actually doing. They don't know all the women behind the scenes that I'm helping. They don't know the life that I am now living because I am sharing my journey and I'm putting selfies up, and I'm putting my pictures up of myself in my sports bra and whatever. And I'm not just trying to sell things. People can say all day long that I'm trying to sell stuff. I know that I'm not trying to sell anything. Like, someone messaged me today. She's like, do you sell Energize? Or she said the pre-workout. Do you sell Shakeology and the pre-workout? I'm like, well, I don't really think about it as selling, but you can purchase it from me. Yeah. Because I don't think about what I do as selling. And so if someone thinks that I'm just trying to sell to them, they can think whatever they want. That's not my truth. I don't own that truth. They are allowed to have their opinion. They are allowed to not like peaches. I'm still going to be sharing my truth. I'm still going to show up and do what I do, and I'm going to put up my selfies every day, and I'm going to put up myself in sports bras, and I'm going to continue talking about what it is, this thing that has changed my life, and I'm not going to apologize for it, because I believe in what we're doing. I know that what we do matters. I know that, one, I'm changing my life by doing this, but I also know that I get hundreds of women, maybe thousands a year, saying thank you for doing that. So, like, here we are stifling ourselves and putting, like a lid on who we are to try to appeal to everybody. And what you're doing instead is making people not really know who you are, making judgments based on something that isn't really the truth because they're not seeing the real you, and you're not able to grow a business or get more comfortable with yourself, and you're not liking yourself because you're not even being your real self. So it's just this like terrible cycle. And if all we could do was just decide to have our own back, and decide this is my truth. I have all these things that make me me, and I'm going to be okay that some people don't like peaches. I'm going to be okay with that because I know that there are a ton of people that do. And I just need to find the people that do. And it's cool if someone comes and they see me and they think they want to try my peach and then they're like, I don't like it. That's cool. But then go find a lemon. That's why we all exist in the Beachbody network. That's why like the person that I attract is different than Leticia, is different than Tanya, is different than Lori. We all, like, you exist. You are a coach because you can attract people that nobody else on this call can attract. People need to see you. There are people that you can reach that nobody else here can reach. And but you won't reach them if you just keep a lid on your life and your personality and your goals and your social media, and you keep letting the idea of what other people think of you like make your decisions for you. And another podcast, and I talked about this on my team page already, but when she talked about the worst that could happen. And here's what happens when you put yourself out there. And when people are, I'm like, what are you afraid of? What could happen? Like, what if you do this and you fail, right? What's the worst that could happen? Then people say, well, then I just look like an idiot, or like, people make fun of me, or I wasted all this money. Like I invested this money to start this program, and I invested this time, and I failed. And so I'm out the money, I'm out the time, I look dumb, I'm gonna fall on my face, and then I just go back to like whatever it was I was doing before, bouncing from diet to diet, and going back to my regular job without the dream of getting out of this job and whatever. So you just go back to that. And so that's the worst that could happen, right? That's what we think. But that's not the worst that could happen. That's what you're doing already. So if you quit Beachbody because you decide that you're too scared of being judged and putting yourself out there, then you just go back to the life that you were living before Beachbody. That's where you already, like I remember when I left Nike, I thought, what's the worst could happen? Maybe this business doesn't work for me and I have to go back to Nike. Okay, but that's already the life I'm living now. So why don't I just at least try this thing, right? Why don't I at least give it a shot? And the problem with that is that's actually not the worst that could happen. The worst thing that could have happened for me, and I want you guys to think about this in terms of your life and your world, is if I had decided to not put myself out there. And if I had decided to keep a lid and show, the Ashley Light version, and I didn't really, shine my light and share my truth, and I was afraid, sure, I could go back to Nike and just do that. And I could keep bouncing from diet to diet, sure. But the worst that could happen is that I wouldn't be living the life that I'm living now. So we don't think about that. We think about what's the worst that can happen if you put yourself out there, that you're going to be judged, right? That someone's not going to like you. No, the worst that could happen is you put yourself out there and people love the shit out of you. And you blow up on social media, your business takes off, you become totally free, you become I don't know what your dreams are, but let's just go with this. You become a full-time coach, you're able to retire your husband, you're able to live where you want, work with who you want, do what you want, and live basically the life of your dreams, and you miss out on all of it because you decided you were too afraid. That's the worst that could happen. It's not what we think is the worst that could happen. It's the life that you could have had if you decided to go for it, instead of deciding to go for it and then stopping or not going for it at all. Because that's not the worst that can happen. I can't imagine if I would have decided back when I started, when I was really insecure and unsure of myself and was being judged and made fun of by the group of women that I was working with at Nike at the time. That was awful. I could have decided, well, nobody likes me. I look like a joke. I'm the laughing stock at my work. I potentially could lose this job. I guess I'll just quit Beachbody. Guess what I would be missing out on now? Guess what the worst that could happen would be? I would still be living paycheck to paycheck. I would not have financial freedom. I would still be insecure and depressed about who I am, no belief in myself. I would be freaking out financially because we just had a kid. I would probably be at home by myself while John had to go to work, and then I would be going back to work in, Rev's 2 months now. I'd be going back to work in whatever, they give you 8 weeks to, I think, 12 weeks. So either now I'd be going back to work full time away from my daughter, putting her in daycare, or in a month from now, and I'd be stressing out about that. I'd be still living in Oregon, which, I love Oregon, but I'd still be living there. My husband would still be at this job that he hated, that was sucking the life out of him, commuting for an hour each way, pit in his stomach every day before he had to go to work, like every night. He was in a bad mood. We were fighting. I don't know if our marriage would have survived. That is the worst that could happen. I miss out on the life that I'm living now. So I want you guys to think about that. I want you to think about, like, what's the worst that could happen if you just decide, I'm going to just show up as me. I'm going to let people judge me. And I'm going to show that I'm going to take them behind the scenes, and I'm going to share my journey, and I'm going to have my back. Because if someone doesn't like me, they're the crazy ones, not me. I'm not the one that needs to change. They just need to go find their person. They need to go find their fruit that they love. But just, like, don't stop being a peach because you're afraid of somebody that doesn't like peaches, you guys. And think about, like, what are your dreams with Beachbody, and what is the life that you want to live? And think about that being the worst that could happen. Not that small world thing of, well, we'll go back to our job and we'll stop dreaming, the big dreams that we have, and, whatever. You just go back to the life that you were living before Beachbody. That's not the worst that could happen. The worst that could happen is you would be successful beyond your wildest dreams. I never dreamed this life, you guys, ever. I was a big dreamer. I never dreamed this big, ever, ever, ever. And I could be missing out on that. Now that is terrible. And all you have to do is just decide, I'm going to show up as me. I'm going to share this thing that I'm passionate about. I'm going to focus on changing as many lives as possible. And I'm not going to care if somebody doesn't like me, or if somebody thinks that I'm selling something, or if somebody tells me no. I'm just going to keep living my truth. I'm just going to keep sharing my passion in this thing that changed my life. And I'm going to let them decide if they like me or not. I'm going to guess that when you guys start putting yourself out there, because here's the thing about people showing up as authentically who they are, it doesn't matter, like, if they have a lot in common with you. For instance, that girl who commented today and said she's been following me for a while, and when she first found me, she wasn't sure how she felt about me because I was too intense for her, and I wore my heart on my sleeve, and I was putting it all out there, right? Well, she's been following me now for 6 months or a year or whatever she said, and she's still sticking around, and she said, now I can appreciate you. I see that the journey that you're on, like with your daughter, and you are now my inspiration for 2018. So that person didn't like me at first, right? But I just keep showing up as me. And maybe she didn't like me and then she goes away, and that's cool. I never would have been the wiser. I don't care. Doesn't bother me, because in the meantime, I'm going to go find a bunch of other people that do like me that I can help. So when you start showing up as you, people aren't going to go running. You're not going to scare people away. You might get rid of the people that you don't want anyway, that are already judging you, that are not your people. That's why I block the shit out of people. If somebody comments something negative, or they disagree with something or whatever, obviously they're allowed to have their own opinions, but if they're disrespectful about, I just block. If they're, especially now, as a new mom, there are some real asshole moms, and I just block them. You don't like that I feed my kid formula? Bye. You're not my person. Go find the person who's 100% into breastfeeding. I'm sure there's a coach out there like that. I'm not that person, right? I'm just gonna be whoever I am, and I'm gonna let it be okay that people don't like me. But by doing that, you're going to find people that love you. So this is why I should have outlines. But that was the point of me saying that even if it's someone that doesn't have something in common with you, I remember one of the very first people that I remember that was super just genuinely themselves and was so magnetic. I had nothing in common with her. I met her in Eugene, total hippie, wore literally rose-colored glasses off every day, dreadlocks, didn't shave her armpits, total hippie. smoke cigarettes, which I am like super anti-cigarettes. And she talked about sex all the time, like all her sexual partners. And I just wanted to be around her because when I met her in Eugene, that was 12 years ago or something like that. I was the insecure person who was trying to put my highlight reel out there, who was trying to people please and make everything look perfect and like hunky dory. And so I was just attracted to someone who was just like, this is me. And you can love me or leave me. I don't care. Either way, I'm going to be me. And I wanted to be around her just because of that. Because I didn't want to be more like her. I didn't want to have dreadlocks or like not shave my armpits or be like having sex with all kinds of people. I didn't want to be like her in those ways, but I wanted her confidence in being whoever she was and just saying, it's okay if you don't like me. I could care less, but I'm still going to be me and I'm going to live my life according to me, So, and the other thing about the worst that could happen, you guys, the other thing that I didn't even mention, the worst that could happen is I've got some people on this call. I don't know about all the stories of the other teams, but on my team, I know that I have some people with some really amazing stories whose lives have been changed by Beachbody, and their whole world is totally different. And that's another worst that could happen. That I wouldn't have been brave enough to do this. So they never would have found me, and they could still be living their really sad life. Like I was, like if someone had never shared this with me. And so not only are you holding yourself back from the life of your dreams, but you could be potentially and likely holding other people back from living the life of their dreams just because you're too afraid of what people are going to think of you. So we just have to stop doing that. Like, you are in a good business. Beachbody is a good company. And when you are like, well, I'm afraid people are going to think that I'm selling to them. Well, then stop selling to them. Stop thinking about Success Club points. Stop thinking about commission checks. Just start sharing this with wild passion and think they're the crazy ones if they don't want to sign up with you. Because you're a rock star. You're a gem. You're going to help people change their freaking lives. If they don't want to sign up with you, that's cool. You're going to go find other people that do. You're going to go find those people that love and crave peaches. That's it. So it's January of this new year, and I want so badly for people to stop living in this shell of themselves, thinking that what they're doing is a favor to the world by living Ashley Light version or living with a lid on. Like, just stop doing that to yourself. People are judging you now. They're going to judge you when they know who you actually are. But remember that it's so much better to be judged on who you actually are, because then you feel free. And you will find a tribe of people who freaking love you. They just love you. And you're going to grow this wild, crazy, massive business. And you're going to live the life of your dreams. And if you want to, you can leave your job, or you can bring your husband home, and you can snowbird, buy a house in Arizona and live in Oregon 6 months of the year. You can do whatever you want to do, but only if you decide to show up first and stop caring about people's opinions and just live your truth. That's it. All right, I'm going to go to some of these questions because I think I did see some questions in here. Tara said, how do you take notes while listening to a podcast? So I usually am listening to the podcast when I'm walking, so I take notes in the notes app of my phone. You can't really see that, but so usually I'll pause the podcast and write down anything. Oh, I love that. Jamie says, I'm always asking that when I ask my kids who their first love is. I want them to say myself. And if I can't love myself and accept myself, then how would they also learn to love themselves? Yes, that's amazing. Okay. I'm just confused, Shay. I'm just confused on how to start. Do I do a big about me post? Do I start posting little things every day? I don't know how to start this relationship, if you will, being a social media personality. Okay, so if you go through, I know on our training, day 2 is coming out as a coach post. And basically what I think is a great way to first come out is you take pressure off of people. Hold on. So if you just say, hey guys, I decided to start this new, program at the beginning of the year. I've tried and failed several times before. So this time, I don't know if you guys can hear Revenue. She was crying. I don't know what is going on. I have to shut this door because that is hurting my heart. I know John's with her, but so I'm just going to start sharing. I'm going to start using my page as a way to hold myself accountable. So hopefully you don't mind that. And then it's like no pressure on them. You're not there to sell. You're just saying, I'm going to start sharing because I want to hold myself accountable. And then you actually start sharing your journey. And they don't have to be perfect posts, and they don't have to be perfect captions, and your brand will totally evolve over time. Leticia and I both, when we used to do the Getting Started Right call, we look back at the posts that we posted in the beginning of coaching, and we're like, oh my God, like they weren't good either. But your brand evolves, and you find your voice, and it does get better, but you have to start posting. So every single day you post about, your workout, you post about personal development, you post about kids stuff, you post about marriage, like whatever it is you have going on in your world, you just start posting more, and you've already taken the pressure off people. They just are there to support you because you said, I'm just doing this for accountability, right? And then you're not being like tacky and like being all about like branding. Like, don't kiss your Shakeology bottle, and don't hashtag your posts like all these like Beachbody, hashtag 80-day obsession, hashtag 21-day fix. Like nobody is searching that except for Beachbody people. Like just share your journey. Like, why did you work out today? How did that workout make you feel? Why did you drink your shake today? How did that make you feel? What did you learn from personal development today? Were your kids great today, or was your life kind of a mess? Like whatever's going on, you just start sharing every single day, every day. And that's how I would do start your relationship. I also think that we think people are like watching everything that we do, and they're going to be like, all of a sudden, oh my God, she's posting a ton now. What the hell? What is she? She must be selling something. I don't think people are paying that much attention to us. They just aren't. Like, and that's why you'll see like top coaches say the same thing. Like if you follow someone very closely, they'll say the same thing several times a week, and or and there's times where I'm like, I think everybody saw it, and this is a test that I have to keep proving to myself, like, oh yeah, people aren't seeing your stuff. Because I'll post about like this I was going to do a self-love book club, and I posted about it, and I posted about it once, I think, and then once on both platforms, whatever. And then all of a sudden when I would talk with people, like, what do you mean you have this book club going? I had no idea. It's like people just don't see everything that you post. People are not at home keeping track of how much you're posting now, and then like, oh, she's posting a lot more, she must be selling things. Like people are not paying that much attention. We think that they're going to notice. I don't think they're going to notice, really. You just start showing up. More. My husband actually started a thing. We are only using. Wait, my husband actually started with Beachbody, but Upline actually ended up getting kicked out because they were only interested in making money and didn't care about helping people. Yeah, well, this is the wrong company for them then, So good that they got out, because we are not about. I mean, you can make crazy, crazy money in this business, but you can't do it if you're focused on the money. Like it just won't happen. Okay. I'm trying to, okay, that's it. So there's no other questions. Yes. So if you guys have any questions, you want to talk to me at all, we can chat for a little bit longer, or we can end this now. But I just want you to, the next time you decide my chair's from Pottery Barn. The next time that you decide to, like, you want to post something, and you want to share about something, or you find but you don't, or you find yourself like stifling yourself, you find yourself, like, it drives me crazy. This is one thing I don't like so there's this whole self-love thing now, right? Like I'm all about the self-love train. That doesn't mean that I always love myself and that things are always easy for me. And when I talk to people and they say that they're really insecure about something, but then their post on social media is, I've got cellulite and I love it. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't love it. And it's okay to not love it. Like, take people on the journey with you as you learn to be okay with it, as you learn to love it. That's still not being authentic. Like, shining a light on an insecurity, but just saying, oh, but I'm fine with it. That's still not being authentic. So every time you find yourself like wanting to post something, but then changing it so that it fits your narrative better, stop. Remember to have your own back, that if someone doesn't like you because of it, they're the crazy person. Just think of it as like if someone were saying, I don't like your husband, or I don't like your best friend. It's the same as if they don't like you. It's not your problem. It's theirs. And it doesn't change. Like, if someone didn't like Colleen, it doesn't change my opinion of Colleen. If someone doesn't like John, doesn't change my opinion of John. Change my opinion of that person. And I forget about them and move on with my people that I love. So have your own back like that. Stop, stifling yourself. I heard you say you didn't have an active sponsor coach once. Do you have any tips on someone who does not? Yeah, I consider, so my sister-in-law is the person that recruited me into this business. And Danielle had kind of adopted me, but not until I had already been working this business. I think it wasn't until I was a premier coach. I don't think she really knew who I was, maybe. So I consider this network to be my mentor. And I talked about this in the Beachbody Champions page today, but I consider this network to be my mentor. Like, if you don't have a coach that's super active, you're on a team that is super active. So you can go to your Star Diamond upline, or just listen to every wake-up call. And then Brittany asked me today in that Beachbody Champions page, what is like one thing that you do that sets you apart, or like that you think has been a key to your success? And I think it's always been that I'm coachable. Always. So when I listen to people that are successful tell me to do things, even when I'm afraid, I do them. When I didn't want to host my first challenge group because I was afraid I wouldn't fill it. When I put my first transformation photo up, I was afraid I would be judged. When I was, wanted to put a team page together, but I didn't because I was terrified of what would I post. I didn't want to host Getting Started Right calls. I didn't want to offer the coach opportunity, all of these things, but coaches on the National Wake Up Call were saying to do it. So then I did it. So being coachable is huge. So what do you do if you don't have a coach that's super active and mentoring you? There is like millions of hours of content out there that you can go consume, but none of it matters if you don't put it to action. So what I would do is follow the top coaches or go listen to the wake-up calls and start implementing like one thing a week. You don't have to like overwhelm yourself, but just start implementing and doing things. When people message me and they're like, I don't have I'm signed up, but my coach doesn't really work the business. I want to switch to yours. I'm like, no, I don't want you waiting 6 months to cancel and re-sign up with me when you could be building a badass business in 6 months. Like, you do not need to have an active upline. You do not need to have your hand held. There is tons of information out there for you. You just have to want it bad enough to go seek it and implement it. And you're going to fail at a few things, at a lot of things. You're going to suck, and that's cool because everyone does. But like saying, that you can't be successful because of X, Y, and Z is only an excuse that you're telling yourself. It's only putting a cap on yourself. So, and yeah, it's just like, you can do this. Anybody can do this. No matter if you're not at your goal weight, no matter if you have abs, no matter if you don't know anybody, no matter if you feel like your market is really saturated, like no matter if you, are depressed, insecure, have anxiety, like none of it matters at all. You just have to do the work. That's it. Okay. I don't want to alienate people who only want my family posts. Thoughts? I feel like once you create a like page, people think you're selling. I don't want to alienate people who only want my family posts. I'm not sure if that, I'm not sure what that means, but I would say, and maybe what you're saying is that there's, people that you're friends with that only want your family and don't care about your fitness. Well, once you become a Beachbody coach, you shouldn't just be about fitness. So you should be able to post about your family still. And fitness should just be like a little part of what you do and what you share. Like, that's not, I'm a Beachbody coach, but my workout is 1 hour of my 24 hours a day, you know? So out of how many hours in a week, I spend 6 hours, and that's just because ADD session is long. Normally it's like 30 minutes. 6 hours of my however many hours a week or however many hours a month or however many, like, it's such a small part of who I am that you still should be sharing about all these other things and sharing about your kids and your family and like what you're doing in life and whatever. And if they don't like those posts, that's okay. They don't have to. They can just pay attention to the ones that you do. I think what gets annoying is when we become Beachbody coaches, we only post about Beachbody stuff. You only post about your workouts, and you only post about like transformation. You only post about Beachbody, this, that, or the other. Then that's not, then this just becomes white noise. So still be dimensional, you know, still share other stuff. What are the basics for starting a clean week challenge group? I want to run one, but I need to learn more about it and what it requires. I don't think it requires much. You just, I mean, it's all out there. They can sign up for, they can access Clean Week outside the paywall, so they don't even need to put their credit card in. And there's a meal plan, and the workouts are already there for Clean Week in your team, on your Coach Online office. There is, under My Business, like Grow My Business, I think, and then challenge groups, and then challenge group guide, there's one for Clean Week, so it tells you exactly what to post every single day. So I don't think it's super, super crazy. It's pretty easy. Someone asked me privately, how did I deal with becoming pregnant and watching your body change? I kind of thought that was a test for me, especially since part of my brand has become self-love. And watching my body change so much was kind of like crazy. And it was a really good test. And it still is a test for me to be like when I, you know, have the thought of like anything negative about my body, I just have to catch myself and say, why? Why am I thinking this? And I put up, you know, a post yesterday about working out in my sports bra, and I am nowhere near like pre-baby, but I have to catch myself and say, like, why have I decided that I should be ashamed of my body? We have learned somewhere along the line that we should look a certain way or be a certain size to love our body, and we can unlearn that. It's going to take a lot of time because it's been ingrained in us. And I really struggle with the coach network in that respect, because I see coaches that are pregnant and they're like, I can't wait to get my body back. And I'm like, where'd your body go? I see it right here. It's right here growing another freaking human. Where did it go? It's right freaking here. You don't have to get your body back. Like, it's amazing what your body's doing, you know? So, and I see fitness coaches do it. So it is so ingrained in us that every time I have a thought about, you know, negative thought about my body, I have to question, why do I think that? Why do I think cellulite's gross on me? Why do I think that? Because people have spent billions of dollars making products that make my cellulite go away. They spend tons of time and hours and money on airbrushing cellulite and that. So I have learned over the course of my life that cellulite's gross. But I can unlearn that. That's just someone trying to teach me something. That's not a fact. Cellulite isn't factually gross. It's factually a part of human flesh. So if you are struggling with your body at all or struggling with it, I just have to stop that train of thought and say, like, why do I think this? Oh, it's because I was trained to think this. It's because society shows me X, Y, Z. I've been watching the Kardashians this season. Every single episode, they talk about their bodies and their insecurities with their bodies and the amount of money that they spend on making themselves look a certain way. And people are looking up to that. Like, that's the beauty standard. And they have millions of dollars that they're spending on it, and they're insecure. And I just think, well, no wonder I think like that, but I can stop that. I have the power to decide how I feel about my body. It doesn't mean that it's easy. It does. When people are like, I wish I had your confidence. And I'm like, it's a damn work in progress. Like, there are days where it is hard, but I just have to keep like looking myself in the mirror and just saying, like, this is not gross. This is a miracle. This body that breathe. Now we're getting into a whole nother tangent. This is something I feel very passionate about, but like this body that pumps, blood through my body. My lungs breathe, my eyes blink, my liver detoxifies, like my skin repairs itself. Like everything happens without me even thinking about it. It just exists. And then it grew another human. But even before it grew a human, it put me through insanity. It's taken me all around the world, travel. I know how to swim, I can run, I can lift weight. Like I can do so many things with this body, and it doesn't matter at all what it looks like. And when I think about the people that I love the most, I don't give one shit. I guess the thing is two shits. I don't give two shits about what their body is, right? I just like who they are as people. So I have to think about that towards myself. So if you're pregnant and you're struggling with your body changes, every time you have one of those thoughts, you just have to stop that thought pattern and say, like, why do I think this? And is it actually valid? Is it actually valid for me to think that it's bad for me to be gaining weight when I'm pregnant? No. Is it bad right now that I have way more body fat than I had before I had Rev? No. Your body needs that to grow a human being. Like your body, it's a very smart machine. Way smarter than we are. So, just stop that negative thought train. That's what I do. Can we invite people to your challenge group if they want to do it with me? Yes, you usually can invite people to your coach's challenge group. Oh, Lori, you're on. I didn't even know you were on. I thought you guys were like flying to the UK today. Hi, Lori. Yes, I know that's a big thing for Lori too. Lori said you have to be coachable. Did everything she was told and asked and just said, okay, I'll do it no matter how scary it was. Okay, well, that's all. That's all the questions that I have, I think. Oh wait, I've talked about balance and living your life for months, but been having a hard time with the strictness of ADD obsession myself. And I'm struggling with sending a missed message. Any advice? I kind of struggle with that too. But the way I look at it is, what I'm teaching in my boot camp to make this a lifestyle is generally in my boot camps, I don't really believe in Beachbody programs. I'm so sorry for some of you that let me clarify that. But I'm sorry for those of you I think that there are people that are 100% on board with the Beachbody meal plan. It's totally fine. For me, in my belief system, which is why we both need to exist, because there are people that want to be 100% all in. For me and my lifestyle and my life and my belief system, I don't believe in seeing how amazing your results can be in 21 days by doing something that isn't sustainable. It just doesn't impress me. So for the idiot, normally what I teach in my groups is how I teach the original 21-day fix meal plan, no matter what program, the Shift Shop, Fix Extreme, no matter what program, I always teach how to work in treats in your week. And with this, what I'm doing instead, ADD Obsession was I told my group beforehand, look at your calendar for the next 90 days over the course of this program and decide what events, if any, do you have that you feel like you will really be missing out on life and you will feel really stressed if you can't participate. And decide those beforehand. So I'm not saying when you had a bad day and Friday night rolls around, you're like, damn, mom, I could use a cocktail. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about looking and setting with intention what times you are. So for me, my cousin's getting married February 17th in Vegas. I am obsessed with my family. I am obsessed with my cousin. I am not going to be stressed out about planning my food and bringing it I'm going to live in the moment because that is something I have decided. I will feel really bummed if I have to stress out about my food that weekend. I will feel like I'm missing out on life and celebrating. And that's just my belief system. So I don't think, and I'm not saying goodbye to everything forever. So when I talk about it on social media, I have to just say I'm saying I'm getting control again because I got a little out of control with pregnancy. I just ate whatever I wanted. And then after Rev was born, I continued eating what I wanted. And I have had a drink every single day since Rev was born, except for since the 80-day obsession. I'm just getting control again. I'm just honoring my health again. And then I will bring those lifestyle days in when I need it. So that's what I'm doing. I know that there are people that are like, no, go 100% all in. So do you, but that's what my truth is. Again, just own your truth, whatever it is. And if your truth right now is that you're doing the 80-day obsession, but you preach a life of balance, you're going to get your balance back. That's, it's okay to be 100% all in right now. There's nothing wrong with that. So, and I think if you're clear about that, I'm just getting back to reminding my body what it feels like to be fed well, to have good sleep, to move it, I'll bring all those things back at some point, but right now I'm focused on just treating it really well. And for me, it's not all about like, what amazing results can I get in 90 days? It's really about getting control again, and the results are gonna come. But I started feeling out of control. And I started eating things when I wasn't even hungry, or like eating things when I didn't even crave them just because I could. And that's not a place I want to be. I started having aches in my joints, like at night, my shoulder and my knees would hurt, and I knew my body just had inflammation. So I am super about living a lifestyle, but I also think that, you know, it's cool to then get back to honoring your body and your health. Okay. I get so sweaty on these calls because I just get like so passionate and excited. But so anyway, I would have started this 80-day journey, probably would have failed, but since I've had previous success, this has now become more of a mental challenge than a physical. And that is the thing too. So you can talk about that. That it's a mental, more of a mental thing than a physical thing. There's whatever it is for you, whatever your guys' truth is, just own that. You can absolutely be that. So that is the theme from this call. I want you to stop caring so much what people think about you, knowing there are going to be people that don't like peaches, but still go on and be a peach. And when they don't like you, it's cool, because you're just going to find a bunch of people that love your peach. And I think that sounds like crazy, because don't some people refer to their vajayjay as peaches? But you know what I'm saying in this case, right? Okay, love you guys. Thank you for letting me kind of like, and I feel much more comfortable about preaching than teaching, because I feel like people want me to give them like actual takeaways and things to do, but I just know that that information's out there. And if you wanted to, you could access it, then you're not doing it. So what I like to do is like try to get into your mind and shake things up and make you think a little different, so that you actually take action on the things that you know need to be done. So hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you're inspired to just show up and be you and have your own back the way that you would have the people that you love. And just, you know, remember, the worst that could happen is not failing. It's being so crazy successful and not doing it because you were afraid, and you miss out on this amazing life that's waiting for you. Okay, I love you guys. Thank you so much, and have a good night.